Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The Town of Orangetown Planning Board meeting of February 24th is now in session. I'll take roll call. Thomas Warren's here. Mr. Young.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dell. Mr. Dell. All right, Mr. Dell is not here as of yet. Mr. Andrews.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bond.
Present.
Thank you, sir. There's somebody here who says Tom's computer. You have your microphone on. Please shut it off. Thank you, sir. Okay. First order on the agenda is PB 21-10. It's 13-21 Mountain View Avenue and 518 Route 303. They're in for a consultant's review. I think, Mr. Manuel, you're going to do that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
thank you very much.
We appreciate the opportunity. I have with me also this evening our project engineer, Josh Seawald, and other members of our project team who will be available if there are questions from the board. We're here on a conceptual review so that we can get some feedback from the board before we start going into full drawings. This is a project to replace an existing building over on Mountain View Avenue near Dominican College over by the railroad tracks there. Currently, it's a large building that is occupied either wholly or in part by a church. It's in an LI zoning district, and we would like to replace that building with a new building that would contain a warehouse of a little over 175,000 square feet. The parcel consists of 3 separate tax lots for a total of over 13 acres. The major part of the parcel is in the LI zoning district. A small portion of the parcel is in the CC district that abuts Route 303 and therefore is also in the Route 303 overlay. And I will let Mr. Seawald walk you through the plan.
Good evening, everybody. Is there a chance that I can actually share the screen, or if the organizer can share the concept plan that we filed? I have the button on the app. It just says ask organizer for permission. Thank you very much.
Yes, I made you a presenter. Go ahead.
Thank you. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. As Ira mentioned a few moments ago, we're located in between Route 303 and Mountain View Avenue. The property is a little bit over 13 acres. Route 303, as everybody knows, that's at the top of the plan that runs in a north-south direction. Our proposal that we'd like the board to provide any conceptual comments that you have at this time is essentially a 175,000 square feet speculative Class A modern warehouse facility with single side truck court for distribution and loading, and then car parking on the southern and western side of the property, which is where my cursor currently is near the railroad. Overall, we've spent some time working with the applicant and making sure that we try to comply with as many bulk controls as possible. As Ira mentioned, the property is unique that is zoned in 3 different parcels, 3 different zoning districts. The majority of development is all located within the LI. This building that you see before you complies with the front, side, and rear yard setback standards. We are beneath the maximum allowable impervious coverage standards, as well as the building covers. So overall, in our bulk table, which is located in the top right of the concept plan, we comply with the underlying bulk control. So essentially permitted by right in regards to use, layout, and current development yield. The two items that are probably most noted, that were also noted in your professionals' comments, is the fact that we have this driveway located on the eastern side, cutting through the 303 overlay district as well as the CC zone, getting out to 303, and then maybe triggering some zoning issues. And the second is parking. Your parking ordinance for warehouses calls for 1 space per 300 square feet, which is incredibly high for what a standard warehouse distribution facility provides. To give you an example, the ITE, which is kind of like our traffic Bible, identifies a warehouse needing spaces of 0.39 per 1,000. So more in line with 69 spaces, whereas your code is calling out for 586 spaces. So essentially that's a quick wrap up of the overall concept plan, how we tried to comply as much as possible with the underlying zone that we're located in, but really would like to focus on just general questions, comments, concern from the board, as well as focusing on the two areas of approval that we need, which is the driveway through the overlay zone and the number of parking spaces associated with this type of facility.
If I could just jump in, we don't actually need the driveway out to Route 303. We think that it is a much better design, but we can do this project without that access. It would require the incoming truck traffic come down Mountain View Avenue. We don't think that that's a preferred way to handle things. We'd much prefer to bring traffic, especially southbound traffic, in from Route 303, but if necessary, we can do it the other way.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
And with that, we'd love to have some input from the board.
You want to clear? You know what? Leave the screen up like that, just in case any of the board members have questions.
Certainly.
Consultants' reports. Jane Slavin, February 19th. She has 4 questions, comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 24th letter. We have 9. Mr. Manuel, if you have any questions pertaining to any of these comments, please, you can answer them as we go through if you wish.
Okay, fine, thank you. I wasn't sure exactly how you were going to handle that. With respect to Ms. Slavin's comments, we are aware of that. We disagree with the need for a use variance for the size of the warehouse that's being proposed. And I'll talk with Ms. Slavin offline about that. I've got some information that I can present to her. If we need to get an area variance, I think that we can make the case to the ZBA, but it would be an area variance, not a use variance for the size of the building. With respect to her other comments, we don't have a particular problem with them. We understand them.
Okay. What about Bruce Peters?
I'll defer. I'll let the engineer talk to the engineer.
Thank you, Aaron.
Discuss that.
Yeah, that works. Overall, 1 through 6, we have no problems with. We understand we must comply with stormwater and all the fun things that come along with that. Item 7, 8, and 9, I would just like to generally discuss that. And I actually spoke with Mr. Peters prior to even filing this concept plan. I understand his intent and goal is to limit the amount of impervious coverage as much as possible on site and reduce the amount of, let's say, unnecessary impervious coverage. For example, comment number 7 asks us to reduce the size of the access aisles from which are currently right now 30 to 35 feet wide, down to more of 20 to 24 feet. Overall, in order for tractor trailers going in each direction, the access aisle must be that wide to comply with that. And we can run truck circulation plans to show why that works. I do agree with, Mr. Peters, that the smaller access aisle, like for the car, being around 24, 25 feet is more appropriate. However, in the areas where we have tractor trailers coming in from either road, pulling forward and then backing into their loading dock position, there needs to be a nice wide access aisle for safety and maneuverability purposes.
Okay. You have to work them out with him.
Absolutely. And really, I guess this ties in Ms. Slavens as well as Mr. Peters' review layer. It's really the parking. The requirement for parking in your municipality is high. It's 586 spaces, and we're providing 180 just to try to get as close as we can to that requirement, even though our traffic regulations really talk about having much less amount of parking, under 100 spaces. I just wanted to get any kind of comments additional from either the board members or your professionals on if the board is okay with providing much less parking for this type of facility, essentially. We think there's always benefits to not paving over unnecessary areas of the lot for parking spaces that will never be utilized.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, on Mr. Peters' letter, number 9, where he suggests that we use Grasscrete for some of the fire access or fire lanes. Does the board accept Grasscrete? Many boards around the county and in the lower Hudson Valley have moved away from Grasscrete because of some difficulties that they've experienced with it. But if Grasscrete is something that the board is willing to consider, then we will consider it as well.
Okay. We have in the past considered it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next is the Bureau of Fire Prevention, February 24th. And he has 5 items.
Yeah, no problems here.
Thank you. Okay, Rockland County Sewer District number 1, February 17th.
Same here. No issues here.
They have 5 items. No, 4. 1 through 4. Okay, and then I have a narrative by Mr. Emanuel, and I have a copy of the traffic study prepared by Dynamic Traffic. Cheryl, is there anything that I missed?
That's everything.
Thank you very much. I have a couple concerns. I really, this is me. I don't know what the rest of the board feels, is I have a little bit of an issue with putting tractor trailers on Mountain View Avenue. It's a 2-lane road. I think there's, like I said, it's a residential area. There's a couple of schools. There's 2 shopping centers in that area. And I'd really hate to mix tractor trailers on that road. Also, I don't know if it was picked up in the traffic study, but there's a prospective, another application across the road over on Greenbush Road, which is going to have to tractor trailer in this area. So I hope all this is taken into consideration. Okay. I'm going to open it up to the board now and see what your opinions are. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have concerns over sending trucks onto Mountain View as well. I mean, the reason why, Mr. Emanuel, you have so many parking spots is because you're creating a large building. But I agree with you in concept that is way too many parking spaces, and I can see you getting a variance for that. Don't mind the access to Route 303 as well, and how busy that road is, and trying to keep trucks off of Mountain View. You know, you're going to get hit with the same type of questions you usually get hit with a warehouse this size. What are the hours of operation? How many trucks? I haven't gone through the traffic study to see what's planned here. You know, it is a busy area. You have Dominican College right across the tracks there. strip malls, like our chairman said. I look forward to hearing what my other board members would like to say on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's several comments to make on this. Taking a look, first I wanted to mention was the site plan doesn't show the easements. As I think Rockland County Sewer or whatever mentioned, the easements have to be shown in here before you can really get a final conceptual plan. The way it looks now, part of that building or parking lot or permanent structures could be on the easements, which would be prohibited. So therefore, I think you have to do that. When you do come back, you have to show comply with the 303 overlay. Now, one of the questions I have, what's the proposed use of this warehouse? Do you have a tenant yet?
It's a speculative warehouse, sir.
Do you have no idea who's going to move in?
No.
Or what kind of company or how many vehicles or trucks?
Typically, the applicant is an industrial development company. They specialize in knowing the market and the areas and the truck routes, and they have a wide national tenant base of tenants that they will able to lease this building out. Due to the lengthy process of entitlements plus lengthy process of construction for the size of facility, most of these type of facilities are not leased up at the current conceptual phase. What usually ends up happening is during construction, leasing of the national company will end up finding a tenant or two. But the applicant, due to its history and being specialized in industrial development, is confident that we are building a Class A speculative but distribution facility, meaning we anticipate a certain amount of shifts, a certain amount of trucks. The dock and the truck court that's currently designed and shown on the concept plan is not unique. This is prototypical warehouse development. Again, the parking spaces that are there are really a little bit above and beyond what we would need for 175,000 square feet, because the majority of these facilities are storage based. The inside of 175,000 square feet, you might have a few thousand square feet for office and administration. The rest of it is racking and storage of product that comes in and out of the truck court. You have a handful of employees inside running forklifts, and then you have your truck drivers operating in the truck area. So overall, this is not a unique project. This is pretty standard for industrial operators, where they get a specific tenant later.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the easements are on that property at this time?
I do, sir. We have a full survey. This was more of a concept plan to get really the major items flushed out, which is, in my opinion, parking, obviously obtaining any comments from the board and the professionals, as well as really discussing the Route 303. As one of your board members mentioned, the Route 303 driveway is probably more ideal to keep truck traffic off of Mountain View Avenue, but it's one of the reasons that may create some zoning issues for us.
Well, number one, talking about I was looking at some pictures of the proposed tractor trailer turn onto Mountain View Avenue southbound on 303. Mm-hmm. That would require the use of the eastbound lane on Mountain View. This would create a tremendous traffic jam at that corner, because vehicles coming down Mountain View always stop near the end. That truck could not make that turn until those cars left there. When it did, it would be holding up all the traffic behind it. So I think definitely the 303 driveway makes sense. But as Bruce Peters, I think, said, or one of the others, the driveway should be straightened out a little bit more, and that may make it amenable to being not as wide, and therefore reducing the impervious space. But that's something to look at, because if you look at your turn pictures that came with the traffic plan, that turn southbound onto Mountain View going west is an impossibility. And I don't think it would be permitted. It would create a very dangerous condition at that corner. That's just one of the comments I have on that.
Yeah, no, sir. Those exhibits were prepared by my firm to show the board some of the complexities and difficulties at Mountain View Avenue 303 and why we support the right in, right out driveway that's on 303. That's absolutely why we provided this to the town.
I agree with that because I know that intersection well. Now, maybe I missed it in your traffic study, but were the new Amazon UPS distribution centers included in the 303 portion of the traffic study, since you referred to the 2019 pre-COVID traffic?
Say that one more time. It broke up a little bit for me. I'm sorry.
Okay. In your traffic study, were the new Amazon and UPS distribution centers included in the 303 portion of the traffic study? Because in that traffic study, you referred to the 2019 pre-COVID traffic patterns there, which increased the number of vehicles that will be on 303.
Yeah, I actually have my partner, Corey, who's our licensed professional traffic engineer on the call. If you could just jump in real quick, Corey, and answer that question. Thank you.
That's a great question. Because of the impacts of COVID on the existing traffic flows, we did do updated traffic counts out there, which are current and reflect the existing conditions at the intersection. But we also compared those to prior data to see if they needed to be factored or adjusted up to account for any downturn in traffic, which we've seen across the board as a result of, the decrease in people commuting as a result of COVID. So it does account for that. And these volumes were in fact factored up beyond the existing counts to account for any potential downturn in traffic along the 303 corridor.
Well, I would Amazon is up and running, but UPS is not up and running yet. So I would take a look at that, add that into your traffic study. One last thing, DEME number 4, they talk about soil bearings, perk test. When you conduct them, they must be witnessed, because we've been having people coming forward without having these witnessed. They must be witnessed by a member of the DEME. If they're not witnessed, they're not acceptable to DEME and therefore not acceptable to us. So notified, you're made aware of it, and he prefers it being done in the spring or the fall when the groundwater is the highest. So I recommend, if you go forward, that you speak to him and you set up those things right off the bat. Thank you. I have no further at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mandel. One thing I'd like to add in respect to what Mr. Mandel is saying, in respect to the traffic about Amazon and UPS, I'd also like to have you consider the proposed project across the street from you on 303 on Greenbush Road, where there's another warehouse facility in there, and they are in the process of developing that too. So between their traffic study and your traffic study, I'd like to see that, and I think the board would too, is to see what that traffic is going to look like at that intersection.
Mr. Chairman, do you know the name of that project offhand?
Excuse me?
Do you know the name of that project offhand so that we could investigate it?
It's all the way down off of, I think Ms. Slavin can give you all that.
Okay. Yes, Ira, if you contact me, we can provide the traffic studies from the other projects.
Perfect. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to also include the traffic study from Greenbush Road. So that whole area, the traffic study from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, which is existing, and also the traffic study from Greenbush Road. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with what's been said so far. Just a couple of things to highlight. I also agree that it is a big building, so it will require a lot of parking spots, but I do think that maybe what's being required is too much, and I can see a variance there. I understand the need, and I agree with the need for the Route 303 entrance, the right in, right out. But that's going to handle all traffic that's southbound entering and southbound exiting on 303. I'm worried about the traffic that's coming north and will have to use Mountain View Road to enter. And then if it's going north on exit, I'll have to use Mountain View Road as well. I think I'm concerned that we don't know who the tenant's going to be. We don't know the hours of operation or the number of trucks per day. So I have a lot of concerns of approving a project that's going to possibly put a lot of tractor trailers on Mountain View Road, possibly right in the middle of the day. So that concerns me. The unknown there concerns me. I agree with Mr. Peters. I think a straighter entrance an exit off of 303 would save some impervious surface. I'd ask you to definitely explore that. And like one of your consultants said, that if you could reduce some of the parking spots, maybe you can reduce some of the impervious surface in the parking lot as well. That's what I have right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Dell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank the applicants for bringing it in at an early stage rather than at a later stage where they would have spent considerably more resources in developing it and then claim some sort of hardship, which often happens to us. That being, I agree with what the other board members said, with all of them, Mr. Mendel, Mr. Sweeney, everybody. I have some concerns myself. First of all, obviously NYS DOT, New York State Department of Transportation, should have something to say about it, and hopefully they would get it back to us in a timely fashion. I would suggest it be sent to them as soon as possible regarding Route 303. With a right exit, I wonder where the trucks are going to do their turnaround. That would be another issue. But the bigger things I see here is it's a very large building relatively, and somehow or other, you're projecting only 5 truck trips per day and 1 truck exiting. And this is speculative. I think that figure is more than a little low, because even just filling it up would take you, at the calculations of the size of a tractor trailer, it'll take you 70 days at this rate just even to get your inventory in there. So I'm kind of questioning this. A lot of the things on Mountain View, with having to obviously go out into the other lanes of traffic in order to come in and out, are a problem. I think you should have a number of those things should be studied. The other thing I don't want to see happen, which sometimes happens with this, is we get a very rosy picture of what's happening. Oh, it's only going to be 5 trucks per day. And then when tenants start coming in, all of a sudden we hear, oh, we have a hardship situation here, so we'll need special accommodation. It's just a pattern I've seen happen many times over. I don't mean that your company is going to do that, but it's just something I think we should certainly be more than a little bit aware of as the idea of using Grasscrete, I think I have no problem. If you ever had a good location to put something like this in terms of the neighborhood, this is probably close to an ideal situation. You have the railroad, you don't really have any residential areas, and I think on that part of it, I think is probably a good idea. But I question how this is going to end up. And most important, I think we should get our traffic, an independent review, to look at this and to verify all this and to help us with our determination. I have no doubt of the validity of your studies, but I think it probably is based on more than conservative estimates as to the actual amount of traffic that could potentially be used in this site. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Andrews.
I would just like to ditto everybody else's concerns. I noticed that you have 4 box truck stalls and 29 loading stalls. That's an awful lot of stalls for only the few trucks that you got coming in and out of there. So I was just wondering about that. The building is over 4 acres big. Does anybody know what the footprint is of the building that's there now?
It's approximately 106,000 square feet, I believe.
6,000 square feet?
106,000.
Oh, 106. So this
Sure.
one's 70,000 square feet bigger.
Correct.
The idea about coming in and out of Mountain View Avenue is not a good one. If you straighten out the driveway going out to 303 is a much better idea. That'll allow trucks in and out. You got a much better turning radius out on 303 that's bigger. One other concern that I have that wasn't mentioned is we have Amazon going in up on 303. My concern is that this is such a large warehouse that I was just wondering if this might take some overflow from Amazon, creating some more spider trucks coming in and out of there besides tractor trailers. So that's a concern because you guys don't know who's going to go in here. And I think that's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrews. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of comments. I agree with most of the board members to what they said already. And I know this is a speculative plan, so there's lots of unknowns. I know you mentioned, I wrote it down, that the plan tries to comply with the zoning. You might not like the zoning or the comments from our consultants, but that's very important to the board, what they say. And Ms. Laban's comments about the 303 overlay, that's a big part of this for me. The intent of the 303 overlay is to not allow warehouses and distribution centers just like this. So I think you're going to have a major problem with that. I know we mentioned a project across the street where there's a big fight from the neighbors. And I think you got a big fight on your hands if you want to put this in a 303 overlay. That's just my one comment. And I know with Amazon, like we mentioned, Amazon UPS going up north of you, it's already a stressed out area. And this is going to be adding to the stress, to the whole traffic. Like I said, the 303 overlay was to prevent this stuff. And now you're having this big warehouse with no known tenant, truck problems getting on the Mountain View Avenue. It's even coming out of 303 is going to be a problem because there's a light right there. Right when they make that turn right, I can see it being a big disaster. And a lot of flaws in traffic study. It doesn't include UPS, Amazon. You don't know who the tenant is, so how can the traffic study hold any weight right now? And it's a very stressed out area. I can see this being major problems with the neighbors and with the board when we see the final plan. So that's my only comments. I just got a lot of questions. So thanks for representing it. That's it, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McCory. Okay, Mr. Bond.
I just think the warehouse is 175,000 square feet. That's a big warehouse. I mean, when you only got 100,000 there now, so I think that's kind of overdoing it a little bit. And I know you're talking about on the coming out on the 303. Has there been any thought to making any improvements on 303 in terms of a traffic light, or not necessarily there because that might be a little close to the one on Mountain View, the light there, but maybe down on Glenshaw, if you had another light there, make it easier for your trucks to get in and out in that span. But has there any been thought to a traffic light?
I can let my partner Corey jump into it. I know there's a lot of comments flying around. And then just to comment too on the previous, Mr. McCrory, we appreciate the board professionals review letters that helps us determine the next step essentially. And we agree with you. We understand the Route 303 overlay. Our comment was just in general that in lieu of sending truck traffic that is a permitted use within the underlying LO zone onto the Mountain View Avenue, it was a consideration for the board. That's all, to utilize the Route 303 where truck traffic is allowed. So we absolutely respect and understand the purpose of the overlay. That was an option because of all the other concerns the board members had about using Mountain View Avenue for our access. In regards to a traffic signal, even though the building is 170,000 square feet, because of the use nature, it is not an Amazon. Amazon is a e-commerce, high fulfillment, lots of vans. It's underneath a different lane use code in regards to traffic generation. I know Corey can jump in shortly, but I don't believe a traffic signal will be warranted at our driveway at 303. Or if you want to give a little more color on different ITE land use codes and why, even though this is a big building, not a lot of traffic is generated from it based on the type of facility that it is.
Certainly, and Josh was correct. There are certain traffic volume thresholds that are required to be met to install a new traffic signal. And because of the traffic projected to be generated by the warehouse, even though, as Josh mentioned, it is 175,000 square feet, overall, from a traffic generation standpoint, it's not a significant traffic generator. The numbers that a couple of the board members were referencing from our traffic study, those are peak hour traffic volumes. So that's what we focus on when we analyze traffic impacts. We look at the weekday morning peak hour and the weekday evening peak hour to determine those rush hour impacts. So those truck volumes that were referenced, the 6 trucks, that's 6 trucks an hour. So it's approximately 1 truck every 10 minutes. And again, the ITE and the NYSDOT, they have a threshold for a significant increase in traffic of 100 trips or more during a peak hour. That's what they consider to be a significant increase and potentially to have a significant impact on the prevailing traffic conditions. So this use in totality would only generate approximately 50% of that threshold. We're only talking about approximately 50 additional trips during a peak hour. So that comes down to approximately 1 trip every minute during this peak period. So overall, from a traffic generation standpoint, certainly not a substantial traffic generator. And that's why Josh mentioned, we can require significantly less parking than what the ordinance requires. So we heard the board's comments. We'll be happy to add in any of those additional traffic studies that we can obtain from the town and include those in our analysis. But again, we're talking about approximately 1 trip every minute during the peak period. So not a substantial source of traffic generation.
Okay, but in terms of a traffic light, I mean, we made Lowe's put in a light that came from the planning board when that project went in. And also we had one put in down by the old 303 drive in there. I guess it was FedEx or when they came in, that light they had to do to get that project through. So that was all done because of the planning board, as well as the turning lane that was put in for Rockland Toyota. So
understood.
There were improvements that were required 303 in order to get their project through. So
I understand that, sir. The issue
Mountain View Avenue that's a bad intersection. It's a crazy intersection right now. I mean, and to put more traffic on at that intersection is just insane. So
understood. The issue we're going to run into is the state's going to require that you meet a certain volume criteria to warrant the installation of an additional traffic light. And that criteria is high. And this development wouldn't satisfy those traffic volume warrants to install a new traffic signal. So if you don't generate a certain level of traffic,
well, they might not let it put I agree, they might not let you put it that close to the other intersection. It might have to be down further, maybe like Glenshore Road or somewhere down there. But I can't imagine that they wouldn't let you put another traffic signal in to slow traffic down there. I just find that hard to believe because they've done 2 already. So, and we've had no problem getting either one of those through the state. So.
FedEx is a substantially higher traffic generator than what we're proposing here. So, certainly a development of that nature, as Josh mentioned, there are various warehouse land use categories. They define that as a parcel hub, that generates 10 to 15 times more traffic per hour than what we're proposing.
Okay, thank you. Is that all, Mr. Bond?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman?
Do any of the other board members have any other questions or anything? Mr. Dell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It should be pointed out again, I tried to make it clear, but want to make it clear again, that Mountain View Avenue is a residential street. It was never designed for tractor trailers entering and exiting. You would need a deceleration lane. If you're going to be having it there, you should have only a left-hand turn coming out of there. Otherwise, you'd be sending it up through the residential areas to the west, which is something I don't think any of us would want to do. You probably eventually have to have some sort of acceleration and deceleration lanes on Route 303. But if you're getting the amount of truck volume they're talking about, you have to first, for a truck to exit, you first have to wait for a break in the traffic. And then when you find it, you won't be entering the traffic at full speed unless the traffic is, the light is down. So you're going to have a backup as the tractor trailers come up to speed. In addition, there's a backup when they reduce their speed and enter. And I think it's looking like it might be a problem. And the other thing is the applicant is saying what will generate, but obviously they have no tenants and we have no idea what they're going to come in and then what will be attempted afterwards, as I've said, because this is speculative. But if it's speculative, I think we should go towards the high end, towards the low end, which is why I strongly suggest that we try to get initial independent review from one of our consultants for the traffic, and then at least have an idea of what's going on. Because right now it's completely unclear to me, and I see a great deal of potential problems coming on as this gets later on in the development process, assuming this is the way they're going to go. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dell.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
When I spoke, I initially said that I didn't want to see any tractor trailers at all on Mountain View. That was my opening statement. I think that's a 2-lane highway. It's a residential highway. And I think all the tractors and trailers should go out onto 303 through the proposed driveway. They can straighten that out so that the tractor trailers can turn either right or left. It can all be worked out. But my personal opinion is to keep the trucks off of Mountain View Road. Okay. With that said, I'm going to open up. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. McGorry.
No, Mr. Mandel.
I'm sorry. Who are you calling?
Mr. McCory, go ahead. Mr. Mandel will be right with you.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Just a question that I think was brought up, but I'm not sure it was answered. How are the trucks going northbound to the thruway using the 303 exit? I heard it might be a right-only turn as the concept, but how are trucks getting north?
Corey, I'm not following that question. Is it basically how do you get back to 303 north? Is that the question, sir?
How did trucks go north on 303 when they exit the warehouse? Are they making the left, or is it a right-only turn onto 303 like a lot of the distribution centers?
Yeah, this driveway is contemplated at right in, right out. And one of the previous members' questions, we have no anticipation of any trucks going westbound on Mountain View. However, in order for a truck to make a left turn to go back to 303 north, which is where we think the majority of the traffic is going to go towards 287 into the north, our trucks will make a left onto Mountain View Avenue and then come through the intersection. But that movement is not a problem because it's signalized and there's plenty of room within the existing signal area to maneuver 303 north. Those exhibits we provided are the other movements, which is why we're hoping for your support for the right in, right out on 303.
So regardless of the plan, the trucks go northbound still had to get onto Mountain View Avenue and make a left at that light. Is that the current plan?
That is the current plan.
There's a lot of problems with that, but all right. Thanks for clearing that up.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mandel.
Yeah, just one further thing on the plans. I think on both 303 and Mountain View Avenue, they have to show the driveways of all the facilities going up because they're coming out onto Mountain View, and it looks like it may be opposite the driveway to Del Arte, the restaurant and that shopping center. So I think what they have to show is coming down south on Route 303, all the driveways that are coming out, and also on the northbound side of 303. And similarly on Mountain View Avenue, the driveways on both the south, on the east and on the north and south sides of Mountain View, because you have a shopping center there where the cars come out. There is residential with vehicles and the other shopping center. So I think that would be a requirement so that we have a better idea of what's actually going on there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anybody else on the board? Okay, Mr. Dell.
Yeah, sorry to take up time, but I think it's relevant. The question obviously is that they're not going to be able to do a U-turn at Mountain View Avenue coming south on Route 303. And it said, well, let them just go on to the opposite side, make the left at the light. And we all know the problems that we're already having there with congestion and the community's feelings. I think this demands a little bit more than just a casual response. I would like to definitely see details, but as I've said it several times, we have to get some of our people to look at it, consultants to look at these before we really consider this going ahead. I don't want to see us in a position whereby we're saying, well, you okayed it now, so that's just the way it is, and let your people. I think they should be brought in at the consultation level. It's unusual, but I think in this case, it may be warranted. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Dell, we are not approving or disapproving anything. The applicant just brought it in just for fact finding. Okay.
No, I understand that, but we may, even at this point, before they come back again, they may want to consider having an independent review of this. Otherwise, it's just going to delay the application. And again, it's going to cause a lot of issues.
Okay, thank you.
Find out what our consultants have to say. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I want to open it up. Yes, Mr. Manuel.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, to that point, we certainly have no objection to the board hiring its own independent traffic consultant to review at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to open it up to the public, but I want the public to be aware that the board is not making any decision either in favor of or against this application. This is strictly a fact-finding session for the applicant to hear what the board, the town, what we have to say. I want to open up to any of the public and also to have them express their opinion. But again, like I said, we are not approving or disapproving anything else. So if there's anybody from the public that wishes to address this, please state your name and your address.
Chairman, this is Vanessa Lappins. I live at 659 Western Highway in Blauvelt, New York. May I go first?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm a member of representing Kaufman for Blauvelt and generally for Orangetown. So generally, all the issues for the mega warehouse apply in this particular setting. In addition to traffic going over the mountain, all of the issues that we've seen expressed. And so Kaufman will be creating a letter as a friend of the board that identifies a lot of the similar issues for your consideration. That's number one. Number two, we have, as you've expressed, we have so many issues coming up with Amazon, Federal Express, UPS, the mega warehouse across the street. It speaks to how do we look at clean air, clean water, and traffic across the board, and what is it that we want to become? We can become Main Street dotted with colleges and parks, or we can become Elizabeth, New Jersey. And we're going to talk about junking later on in this meeting. And and there's so much unused warehouse space. This just seems overly ill-advised to put a 7 million cubic foot warehouse right in the middle of a residential area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this? All right, one more time. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, hearing none. Can I hear a motion to close the public session?
Mr. Andrews moves.
Mr. Andrews makes a motion to close the public. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mandel seconds.
Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition. Okay, the public session is closed. Mr. Manuel, you can hear that the board has a lot of concerns. I think a lot of us are very, very concerned of your putting truck traffic on Mountain View Road. Personally, I really wouldn't like to see that. I think if you straighten out the roadway going to 303 and you make it so that the trucks can turn either right or left and not have anybody come in through Mountain View Road, I think that might be a little bit more endearing to the town and the board. But as you can see, there were a lot of concerns, and I think you have your work cut out for you, sir.
Well, I appreciate the expressions of concern by the board, the thoughtfulness of them. I've got almost 2 pages of notes that I've taken from the board's discussion, in addition to the comments from your consultants. We'll certainly take that back. As we've said from the very beginning, we would like to keep as much traffic off of Mountain View Road as possible, because we recognize that that's a better solution. So we will take back the information, take back the concerns, and go back to the drawing board and see what we can come up with. And we appreciate the time and the obvious effort that the board has put into this. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And good luck with your project, one way or the other.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good. Next application is PB 21-1120 Mountain View Avenue. It's a conditional use permit. Mr. McCabe.
Hi, yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tom McCabe. I'm a small business owner, and I'm here today to ask for a conditional use permit to be able to operate a secondhand store out of Unit G, which is in the 20 Mountain View Avenue kind of strip mall. That's not sure what questions you would have.
Okay, thank you. I'll go through the reports, and then we'll open it up to the board, and we'll see what their concerns are. Okay. Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, February 19th. She has 2 comments. Sir, do you have all these consultants' reports? Have you been given them?
I do.
You do? Okay, good. Thank you. If you have any questions while we're going through them, we'd be more than happy to try to get clarification for you.
Okay.
Department of Building, Zoning, and Management, Bruce Peters, February 24th. He has just 1 comment. Bureau of Fire Prevention, Dave Majorski, February 24th. He has basically 4 comments. Rockland County Planning, February 4th. They have 2 comments. I have a letter from Rockland County Drainage. Okay, and it just says your Stormwater Act permit is not requested now. Okay. Rockland County Sewer District number 1, March 19th, 2020. 2 comments. I have a letter from Orange and Rockland, dated somewhere, February 23rd. And it just says that I'm not sure that the customer is proposing regarding the gas facility at this location would be able to send more information if there were any changes in the layout of the gas or the gas facility. Then I have the short EAF. I have a lead agent from the Rockland County Planning Department dated January 28th. Lead agent from Orangetown ZBA dated February 3rd. From Orangetown ZBA, no further correspondence is required. Rockland County Highway dated January 27th. No comment at this time. Rockland County Highway, January 27th. No comment at this time. And that's it. Cheryl, anything else I missed?
That's all there is.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Young.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mendel.
Two quick comments. I see you handed in the revised EAF, but you still forgot to answer question 7, so please get that done. Secondly, how many trucks will be coming in there daily, arriving or departing?
We currently have one truck. Hopefully we would grow it to add a second truck.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. I have no additional comments at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like the applicant to answer, do they have an existing business of this type elsewhere at this time?
We do not.
Okay, because what you're proposing to do here is pretty vague. It could be anything from knickknacks to large-scale industrial machinery. I have no idea what it is you're intending to put here, and whether or not you are reconditioning it, and but what it is. Do you have any idea whatsoever?
Yeah, absolutely. So I own it's a franchise. It's called Junk King. I have another location of Junk King in Danbury, Connecticut. The second location is obviously based out of here. And we go into people's homes and businesses and remove unwanted items. So it's typically furniture, knickknacks, cleaning out somebody's garage and things of that nature. We don't do any type of industrial cleanouts, or we're not taking, equipment. We don't take away any kind of hazardous materials or anything like that. One of our commitments is to keep as much as possible out of the landfill. And out of my location in Danbury, another way to get rid of this stuff that still has life left to it, in addition to donating it and things like that, we sell a lot of stuff online and through eBay. So that's what we would be doing down here. But just to try to keep more out of the landfill is why I'm trying to do the secondhand store, just to give another avenue to try to put this stuff into people's hands and not just throw it away. So it would be, knickknacks, furniture, couches, chairs, things along those lines.
Okay, how much refurbishing do you intend to do? That's another big question, now that at least we got rid of some of the other preliminaries.
There really wouldn't be any. We don't do any in Danbury. I'm trying to think if there's anything we would refurbish. Maybe if there was an old piece of furniture, maybe we would just hand sand it and, that would probably be the most. It's just myself and one other person. So again, most of it's online and stuff that we're shipping out through the UPS.
All right, so you're not going to be re-lacquering an entire restaurant's tables and chairs or something like that. It's more incidental use is what the amounts of solvents, et cetera, you're using. Am I correct?
Correct. Yes. It would be nothing more than like a household solvent, Windex, Pledge, things along those lines if we're cleaning up furniture that was in somebody's garage.
Okay, and you'll be sending things out on eBay. I understand that. One thing about this in general, that if you go around the rear of the building, you don't have any macadam there anymore. Right now, it's basically broken pavement and mud. And I think that should be fixed. I did notice your truck there today at the site, and I kind of thought that might be a good idea for you, and that also answers that question. But or you consider to let we decide to go through with this, and I have no objections to it as it is presented, that the back of the building, that the macadam be restored so that it is usable. Because right now it's not the best of situation. I know you've been back there, so I gather you would agree with me. You agree with that?
There's some potholes. And again, I'm not there all the time. It's kind of like a second area. I'm just starting to grow it. I think there's some potholes and some broken concrete. I don't think it was, I would say it's 90% in good condition.
Well, in the back, I'd say it's a little bit more than that, but that's okay. We got snow on it. But I think that's something that should be just in general, keeping keeping the building up. Otherwise, you'd be bringing mud and everything else all over the place. But other than that, I have no questions. It sounds like a very interesting business. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Mr. Andrews?
I have no comments at this time, just to wish the gentleman good luck with his business.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Got lots of action on Mountain View Avenue tonight. I like the idea of this small business. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Just a couple questions about the trucks. You got trucks coming in and dropping stuff off, correct? A couple times a day?
Yep. So we typically right now we're doing on average of 1 to 3 or 4 pickups per day. So typically we leave in the morning, sometime between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning. We might come back once during the day, and we're typically back by about 4.
All right. And there's no delivery trucks going out. All your things online or via UPS shipping like that. You're not delivering anything, are you?
No.
All right. Otherwise, I got no other concerns. So thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond?
I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to make any questions or comments on this application?
Hi, this is Vanessa Lappins again from Coupon. I just wanted to try to understand what the hours of operation are going to be. And additionally, Junking on its national website lists a much more comprehensive amount of things that they can take in. And sitting on top of the watershed as it is, I'd like to see a little bit more detailed proposal from the applicant about exactly what the confines of the business is going to be and what the impact is going to be to the neighbors, hours of operation from a lighting perspective, and then the impact to our clean water. Thank you.
Okay. It seems like to me is they're bringing in used furniture and used knickknacks and they're selling it. So there's no processing, there's no refinishing. Like the gentleman said, the cleaning solutions he's going to be using, it will be Windex and Lysol and that type of thing, which is general household cleaning. So I don't think there's going to be any issue with the watershed and the water table. And I don't think there's going to be any overflow or anything else. I think it's just going to be a small, hand-me-down shop. There was one further up the road where the Dunkin' Donut was. There was a thrift shop there. I think this is going to be long, if I might be right. Tom, you may correct me or not, but I think this is going to be kind of like a thrift shop, if I'm not mistaken.
So guys, on the website, the national website, we have furniture removal, television disposal and recycling, yard waste removal, foreclosure cleanouts, appliance removal, hot tub disposal, e-waste disposal, trash removal, mattress disposal, refrigerator disposal and recycling, construction waste removal, and garbage removal. This is not a thrift shop. I mean, I love the folksy approach, but this is not a thrift shop.
If I may, can I respond?
Yeah, you can read this.
Sure. So we do pick up all of those types of things, but we have a permit as a hauler's permit in Rockland County. And that type of stuff, it doesn't come back to our space on Mountain View Avenue. That goes to the transfer station, Clarkstown transfer station on Route 303. So it would be disposed of over there.
So the only thing that you would probably have in your Mountain View store would be saleable items.
Correct. We wouldn't be bringing back construction debris to mix it with stuff we're trying to clean and sell. All of that stuff, the debris that cannot be salvaged or doesn't have any value or life left to it, goes to the transfer station on Route 303.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tom, I have a question for Tom.
Yes, Mr. Andrews, go ahead.
Ms. Lapkins said that there was computers and stuff like that that was recycled. You would bring that up to the fire training center up in Pomona, stuff like that. Any recyclables?
Yeah, recyclables we separate. The closest place that we utilize, there's a place in, it's called Teplitz. It's in Nyack. That's where recyclables, items like that would go.
All right, thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion to close the public session.
Motion to close public session.
Okay, Mr. Andrews makes the motion, Mr. Young seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No opposition. Okay, fine. I don't know, can, there's really nothing in here. Our consultants really have no issues. Do we want to move with giving them a final on the conditional use permit?
I would.
Does anybody want to make that motion for final with conditions? Mr. Young makes a motion of final with conditions.
I think we should do SECRA first.
I was going to ask that.
I agree with you. Okay, thank you, Rick. I was just trying to. Okay. Can I have a motion for lead agent? Mr. Young makes a motion for lead agent.
For lead agent.
Sorry, I just have one comment. Mr. Mandel just did point out.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Mandel pointed out that paragraph 7 was not answered. That relates to critical environmental area. Just so we can vote on SECRA with a full EAF, I think we can state, and maybe Jane can agree with me, that this location is not within the critical environmental area, or it does not adjoin. Just because if it's not a complete EAF, that may be an issue. But I think we can establish that this is not in the critical environmental area.
I agree, Rick.
Okay, so do we have to do anything on that in respect to satisfying those comments?
As long as we address it in the record, we can proceed with SECRA.
Okay, Mr. Mandel, you brought it up. Do you want to, how do you want to handle this?
Might as well go forward on it. I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, so go ahead with SECRA. Rick?
Yes, we still need to vote on lead agent first.
Yes, I know, I understand that. I'm just trying to get, okay, let's go ahead. Do I have a motion for lead agent?
Motion for lead agent, Mr. Mandel.
Okay, Mr. Mandel. I have a second from Mr. Young. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay. A motion for, I guess, SECRA. Right? A neg deck. I'm sorry. Do I have a motion, Mr. Young? Now, do we have to put a condition in that we feel that is not inside the critical environmental area?
No, I don't think so. I think Ms. Slavin and I addressed that. It's in the record, so.
Okay, so Mr. Young makes a motion for a neg deck. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, motion for final with conditions. Mr. Young.
Motion for final with conditions.
Mr. Young, okay. Conditions are Jane Slavin, February 19th, 2 items. Bruce Peters, February 24th, 1 item. Fire Bureau Fire Protection, February 24th, 4 items. Rockland County Planning, February 24th, 2 items. Rockland County Drainage, January 10th letter. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, March 19th, 2 items. That's March 19th, 2020. A letter from Orange and Rockland dated February 23rd. And that's all I have. Do I have a second? Mr. McCrory?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Position. Okay. Sir, you got your final with conditional use permit. Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, next item is PB 21-12 at Altice re-subdivision plan. Mr. J.
Yes, thank you. This application is to consolidate two tax lots on Bergen Avenue, just north of the state line. Each lot is 5,000 square feet, and the combination will be a total of 10,000 square feet, which is still going to be a little shy of the 15,000 square foot minimum, but obviously getting closer. This area, as you know from a prior application around the corner, has all these 50-foot lots, 50 by 100, and some of these 50 by 100 were constructed with dwellings on them. Many of them were consolidated like this to make it 10,000 square feet, and a few have slightly larger. But even combining these two parcels to get the 10,000 square feet, we still need a number of variances. And what we've done is work with the applicant, George Alatsis, and he's got a specific house that he has in mind for this property. So what we're trying to do is lay it all on the table so that the board can see all of the elements all at once for the specific house, how it would be graded, the drainage that would be mitigated, and utility connections and so on. The property has access to electric and gas up at the corner where Scotty is, and sewer. There's a sewer line that runs in front of the property, and there is no water main, so it will require a well. And we've been in discussions with the Rockland County Health Department as to where and how that would best be proceeding. And we have to prepare an exhibit for them showing all the wells and septics within 250 feet and all the sewer laterals as well. But we're in the process of doing that. And obviously, this project will require ACABOR and ZBA approval as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go through the consultant's reports. Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, February 19th. She has 6 items. Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, February 24th. Bruce Peters, he has 13 items.
Mr. Chairman, just one comment on Bruce Peters' comments.
Sure. Yes, sir.
With respect to number 2, I'm sorry. Yes, with respect to number 2, the house will be a slab on grade, so there's no basement, and there would be no sewer connections from any elevation lower than his concern.
Okay, we'll leave it in anyway, and then it's not a problem. Thank you, Jay. Okay, and we have a letter from Mazer for drainage. The above comment represents our professional opinion and judgment, but may not necessarily, in all cases, reflect the opinion of the planning board. Overall, the proposed stormwater management plan meets the intent of the regulation, and therefore we recommend that the re-subdivision of land of Atlas be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 7.
I have no objection.
Okay, thank you, sir. Bureau of Fire Prevention, Town of Orangetown, February 24th. They have 2. Rockland County Planning, January 19th. Okay, just a letter. Rockland County Sewer District number 1, January 8th. They have 2 comments. Letter from Helen Power, dated February 23rd. She's a abutting property owner. I also have a lead agent from the Rockland County Highway Department, dated January 27th. I have a lead agent from Orangetown, ZBA, February 3rd. I have a letter from Rockland County Highway Department. This project is out of our jurisdiction. That was dated January 27th. I have a letter from Suez saying no further correspondence for this site should be sent to our agency. I have a letter dated January 27th, Rockland County Highway Department. This project is outside our jurisdiction. And that's it. Cheryl, anything else?
That's it, Tom.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was there yesterday. Jay, I don't know how you're going to jam another house into that area. I understand combining the two lots. Lot 4, for Scotty, looks like it's tight as it is there with his property. Jensel, I guess the name is. That's all I have. That's a tight area, that whole area. And I know we had trouble with the house and park. So I'd like to hear what the other members of the board have to say.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of questions. I know we're putting in a well there, and I know from the last lot put in the area. Does the current underground aquifer have sufficient water to provide for this new residence, Jay? Do you know?
In checking with the health department, they didn't indicate there was any issue with another well in this location.
Okay. And one of the letters we got, they're stating that it's not 20, it won't be a 10,000 square foot lot, but it's 9,584 square feet. Are we talking about a 10,000 square foot lot or?
Yes, the two lots are each 5,000 square feet. I think the assumption was made that the tax lot information, which is 0.11, and you multiply it out, it ends up being a rounding error. But the survey that we prepared based on the deed and the individual lots, these are all 50 by 100. In fact, the Powers lot is 50 by 100. So all of these lots are 5,000 square feet each, and the total would be 10,000 square feet. Going back to the comment that was made, there is a sewer line in front of this property. And the writer is correct, the well must be dug.
All right. Nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you. My understanding is this proposal today is for re-subdivision to combine the two properties. And then I guess if this goes through, then the proposed house would become a real plan and go into action. I think something we've done before, I would be more in favor of going forward with this if the board would make it a condition when the house plan came up, we would have it be brought before us again so we can make sure that the house does not exceed, the size of the combined property and does not, it complies with the rest of the residential area. So I would really like us to make a condition if we decide to go forward that this comes back to us when the house is more ready for a approval.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, basically all this is right now is a lot merger. It's got nothing to do with the house at this point. So they would have to come back.
But I understand that, but usually if we approve a merger, then we don't get to see the house. It goes to ACA board. Every time it gets back to us. I think we should make it a condition that when a house is proposed, it does come back to us.
Okay, there's no problem. Okay, Mr. Adele.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the other members have expressed a lot of my concerns. one thing that would help me to have a clearer picture of what's going on is to ask Mr. Greenwell, what are the sizes of the contiguous lots to this area? It looks like one of them is 5,000 square feet.
Yes, if you look at the drawing, Jane, if you could pull this back just a hair. If you look at the drawing that's in front of you, Mr. Gensel's lot to the south is 50 by 100. The lot to the southeast is 100 by 100. The Powers lot is 50 by 100. And the two lots to the north, northeast and directly to the north are also the same size as this lot. So, it's very much in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and the size of this property and the size of this proposed house. Now, going back to the idea of coming back to the planning board, it was our intention, if the board was so disposed to agree to this lot line merger, it was our intention to go to Akabor and the Zoning Board of Appeals and then come back to the planning board for a final subdivision so we could handle it all rather than get a subdivision and then go to Akabor and then come back to you for a site plan, if that process would meet with your approval, if you were so disposed to move forward on this.
Okay, appreciate that elaboration. Now, just because mistakes from our viewpoint have been made in the past doesn't give us obviously the right to repeat them. But then again, seems to be somewhat in character with the area. And obviously not everybody is going to be able to afford a 5,000 square foot house. So to have some smaller alternatives would be fine. My question is the proposed square footage of what you wanted to put on this property. Because by my view, something that was possibly one floor, maybe 1,000 square feet or a little over, might be appropriate, or something that's a couple thousand square feet might be a little bit large. What was your intention? Because all I'm seeing here is just an outline. I don't see if it's one floor or two. I really couldn't tell.
It is a two-story dwelling. Mr. Latsis is on the line. George, you want to clarify what you intend to build here?
Yes. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Thank you.
Mr. We're here strictly for the lot line change. We don't want to get involved with the house at this point right now because unless we go ahead with the merger on the lot line, there's really nothing they can build there. So I think in lieu of going through and looking at the house is just look at the lot line, merge the lot lines if that's what the board wants to do. Because we did this last time and it got a little carried out of hand where we're doing was a lot line merge. And then we got too involved with the house itself. So I think let's look at one step at a time, Mr. Dell.
Okay, well, Mr. Chairman, my idea was to give the applicant a sort of heads up that, the actual area of the house may come into question later, rather than having expectations, we submitted a 2-floor house and that's what we're going to get. Now, in this particular one, I would like to hear what the contiguous property owners have to say and also what the other board members have to say. But it looks like a decent layout for what you have, but it is a most unusual site in a most unusual neighborhood. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dell, thank you. Mr. Andrews.
I'm okay with the joining of the two lots right now. I'd like to see what the public has to say, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, the intent of this lot merge is to develop on a non-compliant lot. So I know you want to separate the two, but in my mind, they are connected and it will affect my decision. And once again, we have the neighbors, Mrs. Power. Here she seems to be a regular customer that they constantly have to worry about developers coming in, buying up a couple lots and then asking permission to build a non-compliant on a non-compliant lot. You know, the neighbors shouldn't have to constantly worry about this. It's the job of the planning board. You know, on the planning board review, we had to look at the intent of the zoning code, which says a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. It's cut and dry. You know, the owners know what it is. I think the owner doesn't even live there, lives in Jersey, but looking to develop it and not be affected by it. The neighbors, once again, will be left affected by it, developments down there. We let them do it around the corner not too long ago, and they came close to R15. This lot doesn't come close. According to the calculations, which add up to 10,000 square feet, it's 5,000 square feet short. It's cut and dry. I can't remove the lot line merger with development because that's the intent of this plan. That's my own comment. I take zoning seriously, and I think that's the job of the board is to take it seriously. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we're doing here, we have an R15 zone and we're creating an RG lot in an R15 zone. I mean, I know we've had some that have come before us that have been at least close to the 15,000 square feet, but 10,000 is not even close. And they need a variance for the floor ratio and then one for the rear yard. I don't know. I have a problem with it. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the other board members have any questions or comments? Okay, I want to open it up to the public session. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this application?
Hi, I'm Helena Power. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, yeah, you're right. I'm a frequent flyer. I don't get any points for this, though. I appreciate Mr. Grenwell's detailed examination of the lot lines. However, tax lots are assessed based on surveys. And when I look and examine the tax lots, adjacent tax lots for the properties that align, my tax lot is currently listed not at 5,000 square feet. I certainly wish it was. It's 4,791. The tax lot at 2 Scotty, which is the Gensel property, is 5,227. It's 227 feet over. And Mr. Greenwell, you know that. The 5 Bergen and 9 Bergen, I guess those, oh no, wait a minute. The Driscoll property flanking the other side, 10,018 square feet. The same with the Tubo property, 10,018 square feet. If we don't use the actual tax lot surveys, then what exactly are we measuring? I have to say that reference in the block survey referencing the Palisades Manor survey, you reference, sir, a deed from originally from 1926 that was actually was amended. That's the deed you're citing in 1936. If we are not living in the 21st century, then what is the point here? I mean, I do understand that a single dwelling is what's desired by the owner. And we as neighbors, as I said in my letter, we're not necessarily opposed to any home on the letter on this site. What we are opposed to is misrepresenting the size of the lot, which I think is really disingenuous. So that would be one issue. I am glad to hear that you find that the sewer line is acceptable because, as you know, that the sewer line at the other end of Park was at capacity. So I'm hoping that that's the case here. I do think that we need to look at the legal standard here. If you examine a tax lot as an indication and a stipulation of exactly how big a property is, your property, the property that you seek, is much smaller than even a 10,000 square foot lot. It is 0.11 per lot, at the combined 0.22, it is equal to what? 9,584 square feet. That's what you've got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
My name is Mary Driscoll. I actually own the Driscoll lot next door to the empty lot.
Go ahead.
I just have one of the concerns I have, and this is a neighborhood concern. Because we are all on wells, we don't have hydrants for fire safety down here. And the more and more houses we build in this area, I just have a concern with how can we access a hydrant in case of a fire? There's not main, utility needs down here. That's kind of a major concern of mine. Our closest hydrant is about 3 blocks up on Maroney. Another concern I have is the size of the road. Anyone who's come and visited the lot, the road of Bergen Avenue cannot hold two-way traffic. What will be done with the road then if there's 2 houses on Bergen Avenue?
Is that all, ma'am?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anybody else from the public wish to speak on this? Yeah, one more time. Anybody else from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public session.
Mr. Chairman?
Jay, go ahead.
Before you close, I would just like to respond.
Yeah, go ahead.
With respect to Mrs. Powers' comments, I take objection. I am a licensed surveyor. I prepared the survey, and the lots have been found to be 10,000 square feet in total. I believe Mrs. Powers is taking the tax lot designation of an area of 0.11 and determining that the total is 0.22. Tax lot designations and tax lot dimensions are not to be used for conveyancing purposes. And it states that very clearly in the tax maps. So for her to call me disingenuous, I take exception. Secondly, with respect to the road, the DEME and the fire inspector have both addressed what they would like to see. The fire inspector said he wanted it to be a minimum of 12 feet, and DEME is looking for it to be widened to match the existing at 16 feet. So that's what would be we would agree to with respect to the width of the road. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just ask one question? I'm sorry. So does that mean all of Bergen would be widened and my front lawn would be cut into? I'm just curious.
No, it would only be widened from the southerly terminus until the proposed driveway area, which would then provide a turnaround.
Okay, but so what I'm saying is if I'm coming into my driveway and they're leaving their house, how would we pass each other? Because they have to pass my house to exit. I'm just curious.
Well, a 16-foot driveway a 16-foot road would be sufficient. It would be tight, but it would be sufficient. So,
do we know the length of the road in front of my house currently? I don't know the width of my road. That's what I'm asking.
16 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to close the public session?
I make a motion to close the public session, Andrews.
Mr. Andrews, thank you. Do I have a second? Mr. Sweeney. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No.
Aye.
Can we take that screen down, please? Thank you. Okay, what does the board want to do on that? I know there's some concerns about the lot size. I don't know what the board wants to do. Does okay, Mr. Dell, go ahead.
Yes, I'm echoing what you're just saying. I think on this one, I would like to hear a little bit more specifically now how the other members of the board feel, because I'm kind of torn on this. 5,000 square foot, 50% below the what's required could send us down a slippery slope in terms of other subdivisions, and it will, of course, probably be used against us in terms of precedence. But then again, It's a unique situation. And I would like to hear what the other members feel, because I'm kind of sitting on the fence on this. So is that possible to express their overall opinions? I'm sitting on the fence. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Let me pull the board. All right, Mr. Young, do you want to move forward with this, or are you concerned with the undersized lot?
I'm willing to move forward with this only based on the condition that Mr. Sweeney had mentioned earlier about coming back to us with the plan. I agree with Mr. McCrory and Mr. Bond. This is a sorely undersized lot. And the only consideration I'll give is if we go with Mr. Sweeney's recommendation. Because this is a combination of two lots. This is a re-subdivision. So we don't know what the applicant's going to do with this property in the future. He has a lot of hurdles to get over: the sewer, the well, and all the other utilities. So I'm willing to listen, but I would give this approval based on that recommendation by Mr. Sweeney.
Okay. Mr. Mandel.
Yeah, I concur with what Mr. Young just said. Rather than repeat what he said, I concur with everything he said. I questioned it, but if we go along with Mr. Sweeney's comment that he comes back here, then I can consider it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Sweeney, okay, go ahead. State it again.
I obviously agree with my own recommendation.
Okay, thank you, sir. I had to ask you, sir. Okay, Mr. Dell.
They said I want to hear. I'm still sitting on the fence, but I think it's okay now and then to disagree with your own recommendation, but it's not a good policy. But I'm certainly listening to what the other members have to say, and I'm sort of getting pushed in their direction, but I want to hear what the other members say.
Okay, Mr. Andrews.
So let me just get this straight. We're here to approve the putting together two lots, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I agree with Mr. Sweeney's idea. However, I have a question about the other 10,000 square foot lots. Were those lots joined? Were they 5,000 square foot and joined? Or were they always 10,000 square foot?
I don't know if that's germane or not. I really don't know. Would our town attorney like to make comment on that? Or Ms. Slavin, one of the two?
My understanding from the tax assessor is that prior to our current zoning, they were all the small lots. So all these lots at one point were 50 feet in width, were 5,000 square feet.
So then somewhere down the line, the town approved joining these lots that are existing right now.
Correct.
So then let me ask Mr. Piccola this. If we decide not to approve this, we could stand a chance of being sued. Was that correct?
I guess there's always a chance, we're in America, so anyone can sue over everything. Whether there would be a valid lawsuit, I would just tell this board, as it usually does, justify your reasoning. If you deny it, justify it, explain why you're denying it. And if you approve it, has that been borne out by the record? So, anyone who's unhappy in the public or the applicant can bring us to an Article 78. But this board usually does a pretty good job of looking at it all the different angles. So I would say, vote what you think is appropriate.
So then, just to reassure my point, I would certainly like to see them come back with a plan on the house after the joining of the two lots are put together. And that's my view.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. McCrory.
Thank you, Chairman. Everybody brought up great points. But either way you cut it with me, whether today or next time, it's still a 10,000 square foot lot. It's still non-compliance with the current R15 zoning. So that's my take on it and part of our plan board review. And, it's in town code. We're not just making this up, is to look at the intent of the zoning. And the zoning is R15, 15,000 square feet minimums. So I'm still against it, because I know the intent is to come and build on it. So we're giving them approval to build on a 10,000 square foot lot when he comes back. I don't know. I'm still against it, but that's just my opinion based on everything I've looked at tonight. So.
Okay. Thank you. So you're against it. Okay. Very good. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, I have concerns being that far under on the square footage on the lots. Now, these are two standalone 5,000 square foot lots that have been in existence for forever, or is that where these came from? Or these were subdivided off another piece of property at some point?
Jay, do you know that answer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I respect the comments, but I do find it out of context that this 10,000 square feet lot is surrounded by multiple other 10,000 square foot lots and multiple other 5,000 square foot lots, all of which support existing dwellings. This lot is being taxed and is being represented as two separate tax lots that are being combined to make one 10,000 square foot building lot. I don't understand what the members who are against the re-subdivision of this to create a building lot that is totally in character with the rest of the neighborhood, what the objection is. Yes, there are multiple issues with respect to the roads in this area, the fact that it needs wells, the fact that it will be able to have to hook into the sewers and get access to the utilities, but it's no different than any of the other lots in this neck of the woods. But that being said, this was subdivided back in quite some time ago. It was a subdivision called Palisades Manor, and they were all 50 by 100 lots, and I suspect that owners would sometimes consolidate them at the time they purchased them, as many as they could afford or as many as they felt they needed. But the lots were all 50 by 100, subdivided off like that. So these are existing two separate tax lots that we're requesting to be consolidated as one, simply because the town requires a re-subdivision when you're getting rid of a tax lot line.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bond, so what do you think?
Yeah, I just think it's too big a square footage to go for it. I mean, we've had some RG come in and they've been 9,000 square feet, maybe 8,700 that we've given a variance on. We've probably had a few that were closer on the 15,000 square foot, side, maybe, but nothing 5,000 square feet, and that require other variances too that don't meet the rear yard. So I just think it's a bad precedent. But
okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Bell.
And having heard everything, I reluctantly will go along with it, but I think we should also put the caveat in there that the reason we're approving this is that there are 5,000 square lots in the area that are developed. And this one, the 10,000, is in keeping, as Mr. Greenwell said, with the neighborhood. And if we say that, and that's a justification, I'll reluctantly go along with it, but I certainly understand what everyone else is worried about. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And I go along with it also. Okay, so basically, okay, now we're just going to do, okay. It comes out to, well, we have a full board right now, so Mr. Bond's vote doesn't count. So it's basically 6 in favor of and once against. So with that done, I need a motion for lead agent. Jane, do you have something to say?
Did you close the public portion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I have a motion to close the public session, please.
Motion to
Motion to
close.
close public session.
Mr. Andrew closes the public. Mr. Young seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, public session is now closed. Okay, so we'll move on with this. So I need a motion for lead agent.
Motion for lead agent, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel is lead agent. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
None. Okay. Motion for a neg deck.
Motion for neg deck, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel makes a motion for neg deck. Do I have a second for neg deck?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second, the neg deck. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think the only opposition would be Mr. McCory on both. Oh, no. Okay, Mr. McCory opposes. Okay, so a final on the lot merger with the following conditions. And the first one is that, Jay, you will have to come back with the building so that we do see the building prior to anything else. You can go to the other. You have to, if you go to ACA board and ZBA and get whatever you need, you have to come back to us with the building. Okay, Mr. Sweeney, that's what you want, right? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let me go on with the rest of the decisions. Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, February 19th. 6 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 28th, 13 items. Mazer Consulting, February 24th. He has 7 items. Bureau of Fire Prevention, February 24th. They have 2 items. Rockland County Sewer, February 8th, they have 2 items. And I believe that's all I have. Okay, do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Dell. Mr. Dell.
Yes, findings of fact, as I said, we should have very clearly expressed that the size of the proposed lot is in keeping with the neighborhood, and some lots are actually smaller. We have that articulated in, I think, would serve as a protection for us against it being used against us.
Okay, so just saying that this lot being the merge will conform with existing lots that are in this area.
Conform with existing lots, and some of the existing lots are actually smaller in area than the lot proposed.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew seconds. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
McCrory.
Okay, McCory opposes. Thank you, sir. Okay, Jay, you got your lot.
Thank you. I just have, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I have a question. I'm a little confused because in order to get the subdivision approval, which we have been granted, the re-subdivision, in order to get the map signed, I have to comply with all of the conditions that relate specifically to the construction of a house, which we can't do unless we show all of the details of the houses and the utilities, et cetera. Because you're making the approval all subject to DEME's comments, which relate to the specific house that George Alatsis wants to build.
We do have a predicament.
So that's why we showed a subdivision, and we showed a specific house plan on the grading plan. My intention, if I can, just was to come before you, get a preliminary approval, then go to the Zoning Board of Appeals with the specific house that's shown, then go to the Architectural Board with the specific house that's shown, answer all of the EME's questions, and then come back to you for final. That's what I was getting at before.
Okay, then we'll do it that way. Instead of, Mr. Dell.
I think a
May I
better
ask
way to do
internally
it is
if
we
that's
could
an issue?
approve the footprint as proposed and then see what's going to happen, whether it's the board wants to think that 2 stories is too much or some of the other details of the house. But if he wants to go ahead with it, I think that would be a way to work it out, is go from that footprint. And that's it, not submit the house plans. Then it comes to us, then you could go to Akabor. I think that would work. My opinion, sir.
Okay, Jay, you have anything to say?
I'll follow that procedure if that's what you want us to do.
Okay, I know Mr. Mandel had wanted to say something. Mr. Mandel, do you have anything to say?
I just concur with Mr. Dell on that.
Okay, I know this is kind of forwards backwards, if that's the right terminology. Jane, do you have any issues with the direction that the board is looking at?
No, I'll go that way.
No, Jane.
Fine. Oh, sorry.
Ms. Slavin. I lost her. Oh, there she comes.
I'm here, sorry. Can
Okay.
you say that again? You were fading in and out.
We're kind of, Jay, repeat what you say, and because we're kind of making him put the cart in front of the horse almost.
I thought the best procedure would be to request the re-subdivision, get a preliminary approval on the re-subdivision, showing the specific house that was being proposed so that the board and the public could evaluate the specific house that's being proposed, then go to, if it was approved, then go to the zoning board of appeals for the variances for the specific house that's being proposed, then go to Akabor for the specific house, and then come back to the planning board for a final approval on the re-subdivision. There's no point in getting this re-subdivision if the house can't be approved and if the ZBA doesn't get them. There's no point in putting the 2 lots together.
Mr. Greenwell, I thought we had some sort of a concurrence in thought patterns, that we're talking about the actual footprint to propose. Let you go ahead then, assuming you'll get your variances, then you come back with the other details on the house. And that's what I thought everyone had agreed to. And I don't think Ms. Slavin had heard that, which is slightly different. So that means you can go ahead to ZBA, then you come back to us and we can discuss all of it.
Hey, Tom, what are we looking to accomplish on this? I mean, to look at the house, I mean, they have the house there, it's drawn. It's pretty much cut and dry where the house has to go. Are you talking about you want to have say on what the square footage is going to be? You want to, I mean, is that what the end goal is on this? Because JD, I don't think we need to know that before he goes for.
Okay, we got too many talking at once.
Whatever.
One at a time, please. Okay. Mr. Dell, could you answer Mr. Bond?
Yes, what we want to do is enable him to go ahead and get his variances, but I don't think we should feel set to approve this house because there's a lot of other issues that can be brought out by Akabor, etc. But I think to get them going, to get them through, to use the footprint as provided, that should be sufficient, I would think, for CBA. And then it could come back and we could talk about the other issues with the house. That's all.
So, but what were the other, if you have the footprint, the only other issues I see with the house is going to be the square footage. I mean, you could talk about the look of the house, but that's why they go to Akabor.
A lot of other details. I was on Akabor for like over 20 years. And Mr. Andrews, there's been a lot of questions that the people in the area might have and that we might be able to work on. But to help him out, he's saying he didn't have anything to go from. And we said, fine, use that footprint. Now, what happens on that footprint is something else. That's all. But if we're going to give him approval for this house based on that, then, I'm not interested in sending this thing forward.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Okay, Mr. Sweeney.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not sure why we're discussing this after we had the vote and not before. I mean, the item on the agenda was for a re-subdivision plan. And we voted for a re-subdivision to get rid of a lot line. We made a condition of that, we would need to see, I don't know if you would call it a site plan, but we need to see the plan for the actual house before it gets built. So, I mean, I understand that there are some comments by Bruce Peters that may make that difficult because he's talking about the house that's proposed, but I don't see a proposed house. I see a proposed envelope for a house. I haven't seen any designs of a house at all. So I stand by the fact that we voted to remove the tax lot line. That's all we voted for. And anything else would have to be in a separate agenda item.
Mr. Sweeney, he did show the house. You saw that. I don't know if you noticed that. He showed the elevations of the house.
He showed it, but that was not part of this proposal. And the chairman told us not to look at that. We voted on the drawings that we have.
Okay, but Mr. Greenwell's asking us to approve that drawing of the house. That's the question.
No, Mr. Dell, the house was not part of the submission.
Right.
The actual
Yeah, we
architectural
shouldn't be voting
design.
on any.
No, I understand that, but what's going to go ahead to the ZBA? Here's the house, here it is, and it comes back to us, and what can we do? Nothing.
Well, the board has voted and granted approval for the re-subdivision. As what I understood as part of the condition is that they had to come back with the house design and the site plan actually designed.
Okay.
That's what I understood from the conversation.
Jay, you are correct, but what Jay brought up is part of the conditions what Bruce Peters has is that there's some issues pertaining to the actual house that is to be built, which Jay cannot satisfy at this point.
That's exactly correct.
So the board just granted final.
Correct.
So the way I understood it is they would have to come back at this point with the proposed site development plan and the house designed. That would be the next step. He doesn't necessarily have to have the final stamp plan to come back now for site plan. He could have actually ran them parallel at this point. He could have come in with the subdivision, the re-subdivision and the site plan and had everything to go. So if the planning board has provided final approval of the re-subdivision as part of your condition, my understanding was that you wanted him to come back with the house design.
Correct.
Now, perhaps in doing that, Mr. Greenwell and the applicant can reconsider and look at some of the comments by the various agencies and take that under advisement in designing their house and their site. And then they would, the next step would be they'd come back with that for the site plan approval and the house. Perhaps they can eliminate, there's 3 variances. One is the lot size. Joining it for 10,000 square feet. It's substandard. The other one is the proposed square footage and then the rear setback to the deck. The applicant can review those comments and see if they can address them.
Okay.
Jay,
so we come back to
are we understanding the same thing there, Jay?
I think so. So we go back to the planning board
So
next.
you're saying
again?
Yes. Because if they
Before you
go
go to the
now and they go to the zoning board and all the variances are granted, then that's it. The variances are, if the bulk variances are granted by the ZBA, I don't think the planning board can take that away. So the next step would be they'd have to come back to the planning board with the proposed house design and the proposed site design.
Well, the reason I'm a little confused is because, I'm sorry. The reason that I'm a little confused is because we provided a grading plan for a specific house. And in my narrative, I said, This is the specific house that the applicant wants to build. And we identified all the variances that would be necessary. And we provided a grading, drainage, and utility plan with all the construction details to be very upfront and show you exactly what was going to be built. That's all. That's why I was confused. When you say to come back again, those are all of the comments that we would normally have to address that came up from Bruce Peters and Mazer Consulting, who were addressing the drainage plan. The fire inspector was addressing the width of the road. All of these have nothing to do with the re-subdivision. They all have to do with the way the house is being built. That's all.
Right, but the planning board can grant the approval with a condition that you come back to them first. And that was my understanding. If I am incorrect, please correct me. But if they go now to the zoning board and the zoning board grants the variances, they're granted. So coming back to the planning board does nothing after that.
That's correct. That's correct.
So if the planning board members want to see the house, you have your re-subdivision, then you actually have the development of the lot.
I understand. I was under the opinion that we were showing you what we were doing with the lot so that we could then go to the zoning board of appeals. Well, my misunderstanding.
Right. So, Jay, my take on it is that a number of the members are uncomfortable with the requested variances.
I hear that.
Not necessarily uncomfortable with combining the two extremely undersized lots into one lot that seems to be more in keeping with the rest of the neighborhood at the 10,000 square feet. However, the requested variances for the proposed house seem to be an issue. And again, I'm just saying what I took from the comments of the board. Now, the board can obviously clarify their comments, but that's what I understood. I don't know if that helped you, Mr. Chairman.
I do. I get it. I understand. And I think I know where to go from here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you.
Okay. Next application is PB 21-13, Henry Kaufman Campgrounds.
Mr. Chairman, can we take 5 minutes?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, I think, oh, no, Mr. Sweeney's not back yet. No, Mr. Sweeney's back. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Brenner.
Good evening, good evening. We had a long evening tonight. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay. I am here basically for the final stage of the development of the Henry Kaufman Campgrounds in terms of its upgrading. Just for the record, this project actually started way back in the year 2013. The Federation met with all the agencies, met with the neighbors, based on the fact that the camp was originally built in 1956. It was upgraded, it's being upgraded to meet the new standards of requirements for campgrounds. We are here. We have gone through the board. We have gotten approval for the Bronx House, which is being built right now. We've got approval for the pedestrian bridge. We just recently got approval for the large drainage project, which we're putting in on Sickletown Road. And this is the final stage of the 92nd Street Y, or the 12 Trails program. We have appeared before your board. We have gotten preliminary approval on this project. We've gotten zoning board approval on the project. We've gotten ACABOR approval. So we are now here for the final stage of the program. I'd just like to give you a little review. We have our engineers here tonight. I would like maybe the engineers to present just a review as to what is done and what's on the final drawings. So I don't know, you taking it, Donna? You're going to make the presentation? Fine. Okay, Donna, just fine, good. And you'll just present it to the board.
Okay.
Donna, I made you a presenter if you want to put anything on the screen.
I wasn't going to, but I do have things to pull up in case there are questions.
Okay, you're all set up if you need to do that.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Donna Maiello. I'm a senior associate and landscape architect with Divney Tung Schwalbe. The Henry Kaufman Campground 92Y and 12 Trails application for final site plan approval was submitted to the planning board in January. The drawings and SWIP were revised per comments from the town, its consultants, and interested agencies. There were minor revisions to these plans as compared to our March submission. These included a reduction in size of the 592Y home bases. They're approximately the same length, but they're less deep. Some driveway and hydrant location refinements per the fire department's request. The replacement of underground detention for stormwater management with bioretention basins per the direction of the town engineer. There were advanced grading and utility design refinements in the size and location of subsurface sewage disposal systems per the results of field testing, and reorientation of the 12 trail sports fields. With regard to the fields, we saw Ms. Slavin's comments regarding the labeling of the fields. The labeling of the fields on the master plan is correct. We'll be reviewing the labeling of the fields on our site plans, and any inconsistencies with the master plan will be corrected to match the master plan. The project is currently under review with the following agencies: the Rockland County Drainage Agency for the Stream Control Act permit, the Rockland County DOH for a mosquito suppression permit, the New York State DEC for a speedy sanitary permit, and the New York State Office of Historic Preservation. And at this time, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have on our application.
Okay, thank you. I'll read in the consultants' reports. Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, February 19th. That's Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 24th. He has 13 comments. Booker Engineering, February 23rd. Drainage calculations have been provided to demonstrate that potential significant impact with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Henry Kaufman Campground Site Plan 92Y and Camp 12 Trail Site Plan be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 2. Bureau of Fire Prevention, February 24th, they have 1. Rockland County Department of Planning, February 4th, they have 7. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, June 18th, 2020, they have 2. I have a letter from Orange and Rockland dated February 9th. And I also have dated letter from Rockland County Drainage Agency saying no comments at this time, dated February 24th. I have a letter from Divney, Kung, and Schultz and B. It's a narrative. I also have a letter, I'm sorry, from, I read that, and that's all I have. Cheryl, anything else?
That's it, Tom.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mandel.
No comments at this time. I'll wait for the public portion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Mayello, for answering those questions, and Jane Slavin. Those are my only questions, so I have nothing else to add at this time.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We looked at this quite a bit. The applicants have done quite a bit of work and answered many concerns that we've had and he has also had. But I would also like to hear what the community has to say. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a vast improvement over some of the earlier submissions. And I'm feeling quite comfortable basically with much of what they've said. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Andrews.
I have no comments at this time.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. I know our town consultants have looked at this project for a while now. So as long as nobody has a problem with the comments and they're all adhered to before final, I got no other issues. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Bond.
No, they've done a lot of work on this project. I have no issues with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, one more time. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Have any questions or comments on this application? Okay, hearing none. Ask for a motion to close the public session.
Motion to close the public session. Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel makes a motion to close the public session. Do I have a second?
Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second. Favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Okay. I think we have to reaffirm CEQA. So can I have a motion for lead agent? Mr. Young makes a motion for lead agent. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel seconds for lead agent. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, a motion for neg deck. Mr. Young makes a motion for
neg deck, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel seconds the motion for neg deck. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Thank you. Okay, motion for final with conditions. Do I have that motion? Mr. Young. Thank you, sir. And the conditions are Jane Slavin, February 9th, 2 items. Department of Building, Environmental Management and Engineering, February 24th. There are 13 items. Booker Engineering, February 23rd, has 2 items. Bureau of Fire Prevention, February 24th, has 1 item. Rockland County Planning, February 4th, has 7 items. Rockland County Sewer, June 8th, has 2 items. A letter from Orange and Rockland, February 9th. And that's it. Do I have a second? Mr. Sweeney seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Excuse me, the hearing. Okay, no opposition.
A long haul, thank you.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Brenner, congratulations. You guys did a lot of work, a lot of good work. Keep it up, and congratulations, and enjoy the camp.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Next is PB 21-14, Wells Fargo Lighting Site Plan. Josh Wagner.
Yes, sir. That's me. Would you like me to share my screen with everyone, or has everyone seen this?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. Would you like me to share my screen? Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah. If you want, please explain your project, and Ms. Slavin can make it available for you to share. There you go.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, my name's Josh Wagner. Like you said before, I work for GMR here in Dallas, Texas. We're working for Wells Fargo and creating a lighting plan that meets and suffices the New York State statute regarding financial institutions. So what we've done here is we've taken existing lighting that's currently in the shopping center, and we've upgraded it to meet those minimum requirements that New York sets for us to follow, all financial institutions. So everything in blue you see is new fixtures. Everything in green will be existing fixtures that we're replacing to LEDs. One, for more aesthetically pleasing fixtures, and 2, to meet the minimum requirements for New York. So we are adding, it looks like, a couple of new fixtures, 1 wall pack and 1 new pole out in the parking lot. We're replacing 2 parking lot poles and replacing a few wall fixtures along the wall. So pretty minimal in the amount of work that we're doing. We do work all across the United States for Wells Fargo, Capital One, Bank of America, things like that. So this plan is pretty normal for us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have regarding the New York State statute or Wells Fargo's plan moving forward in regards to the lighting. So I've included the calculations for New York State statutes. And I've also included in the plan your existing conditions plan, what you currently have on site and how it is not sufficing to the state statute. So we can see that all in the plan that was provided. And I'd be happy to go into more detail if you guys have any questions at all.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go through the consultants' reports. If you have any questions on the consultants' reports while we're going through, please go ahead and ask them, okay? Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, February 19th. She has three items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 24th. He has 1. Bureau of Fire Prevention, February 24th. They have 1. Department of Planning, Rockland County Department of Planning, January 9th. They say approved, and they have 1 item. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, dated January 8th. They have 2 items. I also have a letter for lead agent from Rockland County Planning, dated February 4th. I have lead agent from Orangetown ZBA, dated February 3rd. I have from Rockland County Highway, dated January 27th. No comment at this time. I have a letter from Orangetown ZBA dated February 3rd. No future correspondence for the site should be sent. I have a note from Suez saying no further correspondence for the site should be sent, and that was dated February 19th. And that's all I have. Cheryl, anything else?
That's it, Tom.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Young, questions or comments?
No, are you in Dallas now?
Yes, sir, I am. We're based out of Dallas.
How you guys doing down there?
It's not great, but
He's got electric anyway.
We lost power, or me personally. Yeah, I do right now. I lost power last Monday for the first time, and it didn't come back on until Thursday. And I didn't get internet until Saturday. And I've got a 6-month-old daughter that I had to keep warm. So I had to go scavenge and plead for some firewood for my fireplace. But other than that, you just got to deal with it. And we're doing much better. We just were not equipped for it, unfortunately. I mean, just no way around it. I'm sure we all seem like wusses down here, but...
I had no other comments, Mr. Chairman.
Prepared next time, that's all. Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Mandel?
Yes, no comments. It's going to improve the safety and security of the area around the ATM machine. All for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sweeting?
Yeah, I think it looks very straightforward. I have no comments. I'm fine with sending this off to Akabor.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Dell?
Yes, am I correct? This will be going to Akabor after us, or will it not?
I don't know. Ms. Slavin?
The next step would be Akabor, but in a situation like this where it is a relatively simple application, the applicant, who obviously is from Dallas, would not know that he has the ability to ask for that to be waived in this consideration. So that is something the planning board can do.
Okay. When we get to the point, I will ask.
Yeah, so I don't know what exactly that is. I think it moves us forward.
So
yeah, anything that moves us forward quickly and smoothly.
Right. So we have a planning board and we have an architectural review board. And the planning board does have the authority to waive the requirement of going to Akabor, especially in the situation where an application is such straightforward. So if the planning board sees fit to do that, you would have to request that, though.
Yeah, if I can just do it verbally, I can do that now. Because I think that would be great.
I was going to ask you later on, but I will anyway. So keep that smile, but we'll keep right on going. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Dell.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that clarification. As has been said, its impact visually on the area will be de minimis. There are not really any residential houses close enough, in my opinion, to be affected by this existing condition. Obviously, with the new technology, with the LEDs, there are changes, of course. Are you putting in any new fixtures? I think your height is 26 feet above grade. Is that it? The bottom of the luminaire?
Yes,
maximum.
There'll be two new fixtures. There's one new pole in the parking lot that will match existing at 26 foot. And then we're going to add one wall pack on the building at 13 foot, which you can see right here. This U2 fixture, which is to get that 50-foot radius, which I can show you here. That's mainly to get this area right here and then this area right here.
Okay. Now I'm just making sure this is all put on the record. You know how to read plans here. But I think in this case, I myself, even though it's not Akabor for many years, will favor that you go ahead directly without having to go through an extra hearing. And I'm just trying to justify that for the record. But thank you very much. Those are all of my questions. The impact and change is really not going to be that significant, except to improve the safety of the area. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Andrews.
I'm good with the whole plan and for him avoiding Akabor.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm at ShopRite like 3 times a week, so any improvement I agree with. I just can't believe you got to do all this for the ATM, and that the landlord doesn't have to improve the lighting over there. But it's a straightforward plan. I agree with waiving Akabor, and good luck with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, and I have no problem waiving Akabor. So.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, one more time. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to close the public session? Mr. Young makes the motion to close it. Mr. Sweeney seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any opposition? No. Okay. Can I have a motion for final with conditions? All right. Make sure. I think we have to reaffirm CEQA. Motion for neg deck.
Motion for neg deck, Andrews.
Mr. Andrews makes a motion for neg deck. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mandel seconds.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion for yes. I'm lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. CEQA. Mr. Sweeney makes a motion for CEQA. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mandel.
Okay, Mr. Mandel. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Okay, a motion for final with conditions. Mr. Wagner, do you would you be willing to ask that that we would waiver your going to Akabor?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So that would be one of the conditions. And I think talking from all the board members, I think all the board members are agreeable on it. So the applicant has his waiver from going through Akabor. And I'll read out his conditions. Office of Building and Zoning, Jane Slavin, has 3 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering has 1 item. Bureau of Fire Prevention has 1 item. Rockland County Planning has 1 item. Rockland County Sewer has 2. And that's it. Okay, can I have
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Just to
Sweeney.
be clear, Jane has 3 items, but her first item was going to Akabor. So I say we should say Jane's items 2 and 3.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we just so she Jane Slavin only has 2 items, 2 and 3. Number 1 is a mute point. Okay. Do I have a second? Mr. McCory makes a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None.
Aye.
You got your final. Have fun in Texas. Stay warm and keep that kid warm.
And thank you guys. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much. Okay, PB 21-15, Kennedy site plan.
Should I, am I supposed to introduce the project? Hello.
Meg, we got you. We don't see you, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. I see me on here, but okay.
Yeah, Meg, you're not showing up. I also made you a presenter. I don't know if you want to put up a drawing on the screen, or do you want me to do it?
Sure. I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Nope.
No, it's
Do
not
I have
coming
to
up.
click something or just show you my screen?
You have to click share your screen.
Okay, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm not that great at this.
I can put it up if you'd like.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. And there it is. So you can present.
Okay. This is a project where the existing building, the existing residence is a house and a garage, which is detached, but it's only 5 feet away from the house. So if you look at the site, you see where it's labeled 2-story garage, and then the house is next to that. So we're proposing to attach the 2 structures and make it useful. One of the other problems that the owner has is that this existing 2-story garage is at 90 degrees to the driveway. So you come down the driveway and you can't really even turn into the garage. So it's really a useless structure. Well, it's not useless. It's full of storage right now. But we intend on making the site much more useful to the owner, hopefully. So it's a very tricky project. You know, we had to kind of put a stair in the middle of these 2 structures, make it internal, connect the various levels because everything's a little out of level. But I think it'll be a really nice, useful, and hopefully beautiful addition to the home for the family. The existing the footprint of the proposed additions are currently impervious. On where we're putting the garage on the left side, the west of the property is gravel paving, and then the small portion that we're proposing on the river side of the garage is currently a concrete pad. So we're not increasing any lot coverage, so to speak, or we're not increasing the impervious area. The variances that we're asking for are because we're taking what is an accessory structure and making it into the primary structure by
Did we lose Meg?
Yeah, I'm not hearing her.
Her microphone's on, but I don't see her.
Yeah, she might be having issues. Can everyone see the screen? Do they understand what's going on? So
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I can explain it.
Right. Paul Gdansky is the site engineer. He's on the line.
I think she pretty much hit all the points. It's the everything. There's no increase in impervious coverage. We're putting the owner has complained about all the water rushing down his driveway, so we proposed a trench drain to help collect it, even though it goes in that general direction anyway. And we figured we'd slow it down a bit by putting in some dry wells. That's basically the extent of the project.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll read in the consultant's reports. Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, January 19th. He has 2 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 24th. He has 6 comments. The Bureau of Fire Prevention, January 24th, they have 1 comment. A Booker Engineering, February 8th. The applicant has provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Kennedy Site plan be approved for drainage subject to the above comments, of which there are 8. Okay, Rockland County Department of Planning, February 28th. They have 7 comments. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, dated February 8th. They have 2 comments. The Village of Grandview on the Hudson, dated January 27th. The Village of Grandview on the Hudson has no objections to the Orangetown Planning Board acting as lead agent to the project. I have a note serving as lead agent from the Orangetown ZBA dated February 3rd. I have a letter from Orangetown ZBA saying no comments at this time, February 3rd. I have a letter consenting Orangetown Planning Board would be lead agent for the Rockland County Planning Board of February 17th. Rockland County Highway Department sent Orangetown Planning Board ZBA be lead agent of January 28th. Rockland County Highway Department, January 28th, no comment at this time. Village of Grandview on the Hudson, dated January 27th, no comment at this time. And that's all I have. Cheryl, do you have anything additional?
That's all, Tom.
Thank you very much. Mr. Young.
Mr. Chairman, comments I had, Ms. Slavens pointed out the variances, so you couldn't go to final tonight anyway. Mr. Gdansky answered the questions regarding the dry wells. There was a question that Bruce Peters had on his first comment, and I'm concerned about his second comment as well with the dry wells. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Bandel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What's the square footage of the current house?
Meg would have to answer that. Let me see if I can text her.
Okay, no,
What's that?
don't worry about it.
All right.
What I have a question is, looking at the northwest corner, you have a proposed addition there, correct? By the 2-story garage?
Yeah.
Now, does that addition in any way, are you going to cut into the slope from 9W or build a retaining wall or anything there? Will that slope down from 9W be disturbed at all?
No. I mean, a little bit it might be disturbed to do the foundation work, but then the foundation will act as the wall. It'll be just put back the way it was. But we have no intent of going into the slope. It's at the flat area of the driveway.
Yeah, I was down there today. I took a look at it. I was just trying to figure out not much room there to work. Okay, no further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you. I like Mr. Young, I had some concerns about Bruce Peters' first 2 comments, and I think Mr. Gdansky kind of addressed half of the first one, but I just, I think we should definitely make effort to speak to Bruce about comments 1 and 2 before moving forward. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question for Ms. Slavin. What's the required side yard? Is it 10 feet in this case?
Yeah, the required is 24 feet.
And they're asking for 8.
They're asking for 8.2, which they're really just extending a non-conforming bulk. If you look, they're extending the existing wall of the garage.
Now, I see that they're what they're doing. What was the date of the original construction of the house?
I don't know that answer.
But what about the garage itself? Because, that's unusual that it was, unless it was, 15, 20 years ago, or even then, I don't think we allowed anything that close. Does
Well,
anybody know?
it may predate zoning, but also it was detached, as Meg Fowler was explaining. Now they're attaching it to make it more useful.
All right.
So it creates a detached garage has a different setback than once it's attached to the main structure.
Okay, that explains it to me. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In some ways, it makes sense. I would like to, because it is a critical environmental area, I would like to hear what the neighbor to the north has to say about it. But one question I do have, when I'm looking at the architectural plans, I don't know if it's a question of labeling or whatever. They have a large area in there listed as office. And I don't know whether this property has a variance for home occupation or if it's required anymore. And if it is required and it isn't there, obviously you should take the designation off the plan, calling that area an office.
That we'd be happy to do that. That's just a home, a study. That's not any sort of.
I know, but when you get into office, I believe, you have, at least when I had something like that, I had to go through a substantial variance to get that for home occupation.
Is that Meg? Meg, are you back on?
Yes, I am back on. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But we'd be happy to rename that on the plan. That's fine.
I think you might want to, just for the sake of the clarity of the record. But you may have an existing variance for that, or maybe the codes have changed somewhat. But usually when you call it an office, that implies home occupation, even though that's a very nebulous area, particularly in the days of COVID. Okay, so those are my major concerns. I would like, as I said, to hear what the people to the north have to say. Obviously, you have just about enough room to put this in safely. I see that you're putting in silt fence, but on the lower down slope of the silt fence, just to be safe, I think you should also put in hay bales, just to be on the safe side, because you're dealing with a substantial slope in this area. I think that's a minor request that should not be problematic.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that is a comment of Mr. Peters, actually. The hay bales are required, number 4 of his comments.
Thank you, Ms. Slavin. Okay, Mr. Andrews.
I have no comments at this time.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, looks like improvement to a single-family home. The only reason they're here is because it's the location of the house. As long as they have no problems with the variances and meeting all the comments, it's good with preliminary. They're going to have to come back for final. And that's it. See you when you come back.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Bond.
No, I have no comments.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to make any questions or comments on this application? Okay, one more time. Anybody from the public have any questions or comments on this application? All right, hearing none, can I ask for a motion to close the public?
Motion to close the public. Andrews.
Mr. Young makes a motion to close the public. Mr. Sweeney seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No opposition. Thank you. I think there's a lot that Mr. Peters has, so I think if the board recommends that we go ahead with preliminary, I would ask for a motion for a lead agent. Mr. Sweeney makes the motion for a lead agent. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel seconds. Okay. Make a motion for neg deck.
Motion for neg deck, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel makes a motion for neg deck. Mr. Young seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion for preliminary with conditions. Do I have that motion? Mr. Sweeney makes that. Okay, so preliminary conditions are Jane Slavin, February 19th, 2 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, February 24th, has 6 items. Bureau of Fire Prevention, January 24th, has 1. Booker Engineering, February 8th, they have 8 items. Rockland County Department of Planning, February 22nd, has 7 items. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, dated February 8th, has 2. Village of Grandview, January 27th, the letter. And that's all I have. Okay, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? None. Okay, sorry, you got your preliminary. Yes, preliminary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, other business, Cheryl.
You have the other business.
Yes, we do. That's why I asked you.
AKRF, the consultant contract.
Okay, I tell you, they did, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I can, I requested that they provide a consultant agreement and, proposal agreement, much like our drainage engineers, since we seem to be having a number of projects coming before us now that need the traffic analysis done. So I wanted to have it so it's already set up.
Okay.
So that's why it's before you.
Yeah, I think the board at the last meeting, I think it was UPS, that they did the traffic advisory for us there. And I think everybody was very impressed by their presentation. And I agree that I think if we're going to retain somebody to do our traffic study, that it would be them. Do I have a motion that we retain them to do our traffic studies? Mr. Young makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Mandel seconds.
Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay. What, Mr. Downer?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we have it in there as part of that agreement. But every time they do something for us, they come in with a written report that we have for our records. That's all. I assume that was in their contract. But what they came in last time with a PowerPoint and some relatively short statement, I don't think was sufficient. They had the information, they gave it to us. I just want to always see that we have something in writing from them that's sufficient for our records.
Okay, I think
they did provide something afterwards, which we do have at the request of the board. And moving forward, they would act much like our drainage consultants. So there would be a written evaluation.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman?
Okay, Mr. McCory, go ahead.
Just one question. Just want to get the opinion of the board. I know we've had a lot of issues with traffic and these big projects coming in, and the traffic consultant is a great thing. But I also noticed there's been some changes to the traffic advisory board lately. And at the last meeting, they actually appointed and reappointed a bunch of people. So when you look at the code that they changed, it says the traffic advisory board shall review traffic patterns for new construction, including subdivisions, in cooperation with the planning board. Just wondering, historically or going forward, is this a use for the planning board as presented with the traffic advisory board, since they added that code that kind of links them to planning board stuff? Just want to hear anybody's opinion if they think they're of use and if we can use them for any of the big projects coming up.
I don't know what the legality is on this. I know that we have never looked for any written, in other words, as a consultant, they have never, as far as I know, they have never, given us any information as a consultant. So whether their localities have changed, I don't know.
I just thought it was a recent change in the town code. So it looks like they might have more teeth, maybe, for lack of a better word, and maybe they could be used to chime in if there's any concerns with the neighbors about traffic. I just saw that was a new change, and a bunch of people just got appointed at the last town board meeting. So I wanted this new change in the town that's taking traffic concerns seriously. That's all.
Mike, I'll take a look at that. I'm not aware of, I know that there were some changes made, but I'm not sure that was one of them. In regards to that, I would say, I don't know that there's any way this board could use them. I mean, this board's responsibility to look at traffic, to me, to delegate that to another board or even to assign another board to assist you, I'm not sure, but I'll take a look at that. There were some changes made. I think it was about 2 months ago, but I did not know that some type of coordination with this board. I'll check it out and see what it says, and I'll send an email to this board letting you know that exact provision. But as far as this board, for example, delegating and sending a letter, we want you to look at this, I don't know that that's appropriate. But if it says so in the code, I'll take a look at it.
I thought it was, it kind of stuck out, 39-20, number C, letter C, throws the planning board in the mix. I thought that was interesting, and there's been a lot of traffic stuff coming up. So maybe the board is trying to get more a grasp of the traffic situation. A lot of neighbors complaining. So I just thought I'd bring that up.
I think what happens is the traffic advisory board is that advisory. So if a neighborhood is having an issue with traffic, they can fill out like a petition to go to the traffic advisory board, and then they look at the issues and they do some studies, like they're doing it down on Livingston Street now. And then the traffic advisory board would make recommendations to the town board. And I think if there's going to be a significant change, then the town board actually sends a letter to the planning board asking for your input, much like happens with any zoning code change or anything like that. It's the powers of the town board to make a significant change when the traffic advisory board requests it. So I think that might be a little confused. And every year, all the boards are reappointed. And sometimes the members are changed, but every year the boards have to be reappointed. And that's what happened on Tuesday night. And that's why I had so many names listed. But I agree, Mike, with Rick. Rick and I can take a look at it, but I don't recall any time that the planning board has ever asked the traffic advisory board for their opinion.
Well, I know years ago they used to be part of project review. The traffic advisory committee chairman used to come always be at the project review meetings.
Okay, so
I don't know whether they're still doing
when we were having PRC in person, it was Mr. Dean is on the PRC board. So any traffic concerns. Yeah,
Dean used to come, but it was what was the guy's name? He was an old timer. He's around a long time.
Roy Holmes.
Yeah, Holmes. Roy Holmes. Yep.
Yeah, when I was attending the PRC meetings, I think maybe only twice somebody from traffic advisory showed up. It was a rarity to see somebody there.
Yeah.
But also, all applications that go in front of the planning board, if you notice, they're also circulated to Allison up at the town supervisor's office and to Mike Yanizone. So every application you see also goes to the traffic advisory committee as well. So they get everything that you see.
Mr. Chairman?
As Rick said, we'll look into to see if there's any code changes, but none that I'm aware of. But we'll double check that, Mike.
Mr. Dell, go ahead.
Yes, I've been to traffic advisory board before. The main function is, establishing whether or not you're going to have a yield sign, a stop sign, where the signs are located, a little bit on speed limits here and there. their expertise is usually they're good community liaisons. I don't know if I'd want to hear a detailed report from them, though things have changed. But a larger question is, are we getting reports anymore from PRC, Project Review Committee? I don't really see them like we used to.
They don't meet anymore.
We haven't had a meeting. The applicants, if anybody questions it, if they want one, then we would have a virtual meeting at this point. And hopefully in the next few months, we'll somewhat get back to normal. But
Okay,
there's
so
only been
no Project Review Committee meetings. Okay.
right. There's no
Yeah.
committee meeting, and again, the committee meetings were 1 week before an actual planning board hearing. So it
Exactly.
was really just to explain the comments from the various agencies to the applicant in case they had questions.
And usually the comment we get from the project review board has no concerns. You know, that was a normal comment. The standard
Right, has
yeah,
no
we got from
addition-
them. So
Right. The PRC typically will not have any additional comments above and beyond what all the various agencies and consultants are already bringing up.
No, I understand it. When I was chair, I used to attend those meetings, and I found it to be very useful because that's when they would say exactly why they were saying whatever in the decisions that they would give us. So if there was a question on highways, Jim Dean would be there and he'd be explaining it, and then you could ask him why, rather than now we're doing our best to interpret it. But again, I would have to say things are written much more clearly than they used to be. Okay, that was all.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl, I think we have to vote on the minutes for the last meeting.
Yes, February 10th.
Okay, do I have a motion?
We just lost you, Tom.
Motion to vote on the minutes for, I think it was January 10th? No, February 10th.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion to approve the minutes from February 10th.
okay, Mr. Andrews makes the motion. I don't know, my little button got hit. I'm sorry. Do I have a second? Mr. Young seconds the motion on approving the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any opposition? None. All right. I noticed, hold on, Mr. Dell, just for a second. I noticed that we had some input from the fire, what the heck was their name? Fire
That's
prevention.
Yeah. That's the new chief fire inspector was appointed last night. Mr. Bettman
We just
retired.
lost.
And his name is David Majewski, and he has been a building inspector in Obbs Bay for 3 years and has been a firefighter for a lot of years. I don't know exactly how many. Unfortunately, I'm going to lose him as a building inspector. He's a very talented inspector, but he's taken over as fire inspector, and we will work very closely to obviously enforce our codes. So he's a nice bonus, and we wish Mike Bettman well. He served in that position for many years, so he retired.
Okay, he just retired, or Mike?
No, he just retired. Yep.
Oh, okay, good. But
I think he's on a beach somewhere right now. So God bless him.
Good, thank God. But tell whatever his name is, I'm sorry.
David.
His
David.
input is well received, and to keep up. Okay, Mr. Dell.
Yes, I'd just like to personally congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, on being reappointed chairman, and also to being continuation.
Can't hear you.
Appointment.
Is it
Well
me?
deserved. May I continue?
Yes. Mr. Dell.
Mr. Chairman, it's you.
Can't hear you.
You're going in and out. Mr. Dell congratulated you for being reappointed.
Understand? Am I going again?
Yes.
I don't understand. I can't say it, but I'm gonna turn this thing off and never turn it on again. All right, anybody else have anything to say? Except for Mr. Dell.
Can't wait till we get back to
Enough
normal.
tonight. Don't push a button because I'm going to mute you. All right. Listen, everyone, be safe. All right. That's most important. Be safe, be happy, and we'll see you next month, maybe.
We need a vote to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.